call upon the spirit of the owl, messenger of wisdom. Welcome to the temple of the owl. Merry meet, seekers of knowledge, for I am Matt's owl, your host. And I want to give some positivity, shout some positivity out your way if you guys need it. Thank you guys for listening. Very special thank you for those listening on KUAP, Digital Broadcasting. That's the Troubled Minds Radio Network. Special shout out to the Troubled Minds family. Thank you guys for listening. Now this show is about just ideas that from the perspective of a modern witch. And everything here is just ideas just to help you guys think about things and just talk about different ideas. And I like to talk about different things, and we're going to talk about some haunted locations as well today. But I want to do this episode because something big happened, and it's important that we talk about these kinds of things and get down to the business of what's going on here. And so, thank you guys for listening. But I'm going to start the show with what I call the MOD, or the message of the day. And it's a little quote that I find, and it starts out the show. And today's episode is about Bobby Mackey's Music World, a haunted nightclub in Kentucky. And we're going to talk about it in depth and talk about what's going on over there, some interesting news. So let's get into it. Today's topic, or today's MOD message of the day. The quote is, "They call it the most haunted nightclub in America. But many believe Bobby Mackey's isn't just haunted. It's a doorway. A place where music and madness blur, and the living dance alongside the dead. The neon glow of Bobby Mackey's cuts through the Kentucky night like a spell. Reds, greens, and blues humming in the dark, painting the gravel parking lot with ghost light. Inside, the air is as thick with the twang of steel guitars and the stomp of cowboy boots and old wood floors. But under the music, if you listen close enough, there's something else. A whisper at the edge of hearing, a breath that doesn't belong. The laughter of the living curls together with voices from somewhere else, rising and falling like a harmony you can't quite place." In Bobby Mackey's, country music and the supernatural don't just share a space, they dance together, partner to partner, as if the veil itself is swaying along to the beat. They call it the most haunted nightclub in America. By day, Bobby Mackey's Music World is a country bar. It's like a honky-tonk where neon lights shimmer and steel guitars ring. But by night, it becomes something else. A place where stories bleed through the walls, where shadows gather around the jukebox, and where the past refuses to rest. Beneath the music and the laughter, there is a hum, a crossroads, where the living and the dead still meet to dance. Now, long before Bobby Mackey's became a honky-tonk, the land itself carried a darker reputation. In the 1800s, this patch of ground in Wilder, Kentucky, is said to have been a slaughterhouse, a place of blood, bone, and sacrifice. Though official records are scarce, legends linger like a smell of an iron in the air. Some claim the old slaughterhouse drained its waste, blood, entrails, and all, into a deep pit or well beneath the earth. That same well still exists in the basement of Bobby Mackey's, and locals whisper that there is more than stone and water. To many, it is the gateway to hell, a portal where suffering seeped into the soil and opened the door no one was meant to unlock. When a place has soaked in that much death, witches and sensitives know it doesn't just disappear. The energy anchors itself. It waits. And when a honky-tonk lights flicker, when the jukebox plays without a hand, some say that the old slaughterhouse history is still bleeding through. The stories don't end with a slaughterhouse. Some say the ground itself drank too much blood, that it became a place of offering and sacrifice, and the heart of it all lies in the infamous well in the basement. Locals call it the gateway to hell, a dark stone mouth said to connect our world with something deeper, something hungrier. Visitors have reported dizziness, voices, and even being pushed near its edge. Now, witches might call this a liminal space, a wound in the earth that refuses to close. And we talked about that before, about like the battlefield of Gettysburg and these places where battles have happened, how maybe there's a tie there to the land. But perhaps the most chilling tale tied to the land is the Pearl Bryan murder of 1896. Now, Pearl was a young woman from a respectable family, found dead and headless just a few miles from where Bobby Mackey's now stands. Her killers, two men with ties to local secret societies, were hanged for their crime. But Pearl's head was never recovered. Some say it was used in dark rituals. Others whisper it was cast into that same well, binding her spirit to the site forever. Even today, visitors claim to see a pale woman in blood-stained clothes drifting through the club. Many believe it's Pearl, searching endlessly for what was stolen from her. Her tragedy lingers in every corner, a reminder that Bobby Mackey's isn't just haunted, it's steeped in sorrow. The land itself seems to carry a weight of darkness, as if the soil remembers every violent act that has ever been committed upon it. Now, over the years, whispers have grown into stories, tales of shadowy figures, glimpsed in the corner of the eye, of restless spirits that refuse to leave. Visitors claim cold hands on their shoulders where no one stands, footsteps echoing down empty hallways, and the chilling sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Some of the most persistent legends speak of satanic rituals performed on the site. In secret gatherings long ago, blood was spilled in offerings, and the cries of both ecstasy and terror filled the air. Folklore insists that these acts, charged with intense emotion and life's essence, leave behind energetic imprints. Within the witchcraft traditions, it is understood that strong emotion, especially when tied to violence or bloodshed, can anchor energy to the location, creating a lingering psychic residue. This energy does not merely dissipate, it can shape the atmosphere, attract spirits, and even influence the living who entered the space. Shadow figures reported by witnesses may not be malicious entities in the traditional sense, but echoes of past rituals, manifesting of the raw, connected energy left behind. Stories of alleged possessions, too, can be seen through this lens. When the emotional imprint of the past is strong enough, sensitive individuals may temporarily resonate with it, feeling as though external presence has taken hold. In this way, folklore, superstition, and witchcraft lore intersect. The site becomes a place of human intent, layers of fear, devotion, anger, and desire etched invisibly into the fabric of the place. Those who enter, knowingly or not, step into the space where past refuses to rest. and where the energy of blood, fear, and the ritual still hums just beneath the surface. The hauntings at the site go far beyond whispers in the dark. Patrons and staff alike have reported ghost sightings, shadowy figures that vanish when approached, and full apparitions staring silently before disappearing into the walls. Poltergeist activity is a frequent tale. Objects thrown, doors slamming shut, and the infamous jukebox that seems to play on its own, as if some unseen presence is demanding an audience. Reports of scratches, mysterious bruises, and chilling voices are common. Visitors often speak of feeling cold hands grip their shoulders and hearing whispers that seem to echo from nowhere. Staff members have recounted entire evenings disrupted by unexplainable phenomena, lights flickering, glasses shattering, and footsteps pacing empty corridors. The experiences have sometimes escalated beyond fright, leading to lawsuits. Several individuals have claimed actual supernatural harm, insisting that encounters left physical and psychological scars. While the courts remain skeptical, these claims feed into the legend, reinforcing the site's reputation as a place where the veil between the living and the dead is dangerously thin. From a witchcraft's perspective, such activity aligns with the idea that strong emotional events, fear, pain, and violence, can leave energetic residues behind. These imprints can create a self-reinforcing cycle where the energy attracts attention, manifests in strange phenomena, and precipitates the location's eerie reputation. From a witch's perspective, places like this aren't necessarily gateways to hell in a literal sense, but they are charged with potent energy, what many call a hellmouth. It can be often understood as a psychic imprint, the residue of intense fear, violence, and emotional trauma that lingers in the land. In witchcraft, we recognize that emotions, especially pain, rage, or bloodshed, can anchor energy, leaving a kind of memory in a space. This is why some locals feel alive, some locations will feel alive with unrest long after the events themselves have passed. Witches also see hauntings differently. Shadow figures, apparitions, and poltergeist activity are often manifestations of liminal energy, spaces where the boundary between the material and the spiritual worlds thin, like crossroads, basements, wells, and thresholds are natural conduits for such energy, which is why certain sites seem to hum with a residual force. So before entering a charged space, this is just some ideas for you guys. If you think you're going into a place that's maybe haunted, declare your purpose clearly. I come in respect. I seek only observation and learning. No harm shall touch me. Intent is a powerful anchor that keeps your energy aligned. Remember, witches see energy as neutral. It's neither inherently good or evil. What we call hauntings are often echoes, memories, or crossroads energy made visible. Approached with respect, awareness, and protection, these spaces can be observed safely and even studied as a glimpse into the unseen layers of our world. The wilder building had served its time, but age and neglect were catching up. Plumbing, roofing, furnace systems, and other mechanical elements were described by engineers as ancient, with damage that made renovation increasingly impractical. Maintenance issues and safety concerns, coupled with the skyrocketing cost of bringing the structure up to modern codes, meant that repairing the old building simply wouldn't suffice. Initial plans for renovation quickly gave way to the reality that a full rebuild was the smarter path. Bobby Mackey himself framed the decision as one of improvement rather than the last. I want to make a good thing and make it better. The plan is to construct a modern, one-story bar on the original site, designed with better sight lines, stage visibility, and preservation of fan favorite features, most notably the infamous portal to hell, well, and the mechanical bull area. Meanwhile, operations temporarily moved to Florence, Kentucky, giving the team time to plan and safely clear the old building. From a witch's perspective, this transition carries spiritual significance. Buildings with old steep history, the slaughterhouse, wells, violent deaths, and rumored rituals accumulate psychic weight over time. The Wilder structure was not just a collection of wood and stone. It was a container of stories, memories, and lingering energies. Demolition in this light is more than physical destruction. It's a shift in the energy of the place. Yet Mackey's plan to preserve certain relics, like the well and the wall of faces, suggests a respect for the metaphysical as well as the historical. These objects act as anchors, keeping the energy and the legend of the site alive, even as the walls themselves were replaced. For witches and spiritual practitioners, this is the recognition that objects, not just structures, carry energy, and that honoring them can help maintain a balance of spirit, history, and legend. The Wilder building has stood for decades, its walls steeped in history and darkness. Once a slaughterhouse, later a nightclub, and infamous for its rumored satanic rituals, the site carried weight that went beyond the physical. The shadow figures, sudden cold spots, apparition, and the infamous jukebox playing on its own have been reported by staff and visitors alike. Scratches and bruises and disembodied voices added to its reputation, and even filed lawsuits claiming supernatural harm. To the uninitiated, it was simply eerie, but to a witch, it's exactly the kind of place where psychic imprints of fear, pain, and bloodshed linger for generations. Buildings like this, steeped in violence and strong emotion, act as containers for energy. Shadowy figures and poltergeist activity are often manifestations of this liminal energy, a thinning of the veil between worlds, particularly in the thresholds like wells and other portals. Crossroads, corners, and hidden rooms amplify these forces, making the hauntings feel alive, persistent, and sometimes dangerous. But even the strongest energy cannot prevent time from eroding the physical structure. And everything like the plumbing and the roofing and the furnace systems were deemed so old that safety and maintenance issues made renovation impractical. So Bobby Mackey had to face a choice to patch together the past or create a safer improv venue. He wanted to take something good and make it better. From a witch's perspective, this transition carries spiritual weight. Demolition is more than a physical act, it shifts the energy. But in the end, Bobby Mackey's is more than a bar. It's a crossroads of history, legend, and energy. The rebuild preserves the physical legacy while honoring the psychic weight of decades past. Whether you call it a hellmouth, or a site of haunted energy, or simply a storied landmark, the place reminds us that history, emotion, and legend are never truly buried. They only shift form, waiting for those sensitive enough to perceive them. And I wanted to talk about that, talking about how the building was destroyed and what happens there. Does the energy, do these spirits get released out into the wild, or are they going to wait around on the land? And, other questions I have, what happens when they build a new building on top of it? Is that building going to be haunted as well? How does this work? Are ghosts stuck, by walls? Are ghosts held on to certain places, even if the place is gone? It's the land itself that's haunted. Anyways, this is a fascinating story to me. I'm kind of was shocked when I heard that it was getting torn down. But I'm glad, maybe something better they could rebuild on top of it. It is a place that I've been researching and learning about for years. But I don't think I would ever want to go there. If I was there and I had the opportunity to visit, but it's not a place that I'm trying to go to there. I feel that place itself, after all the investigations and things I've learned about it, it's very intimidating, very scary place where a lot of paranormal things have happened. And so I just want to talk about it, think about it with you guys. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the new building is going to be haunted? Do you think it's the land? Do you think that these stories need to be told? But I want to thank you guys. We're out of time. Thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you for listening to the Temple of the Owl. And thank you for listening on KUAP Digital Broadcasting. That's the Troubled Minds Radio Network. Thank you guys for listening to the Temple of the Owl. So until next time, keep your light steady, your spirit grounded, and your energy bright. This is Matt's Owl. Release the spirit of the owl. Thank you guys. Blessed be.
For many centuries,